Okay, a little bit of this tune for you while I listen to this. So Leo rising is really good. So this song is called Enter One. This song artist named David, who just so happens to be an Aquarius, and so I thought I'd share this sexy instrumental jam in honor of Aquarius season. Because, you know, the Aquarius season is all about the electric vibes and the futuristic, out of this world, interdimensional vibes. So yeah, that song is called Enter One by Javid, and you can find it on SoundCloud. But Aquarius season has been so good to me. It always is. I mean, as a Gemini, as an air sign, Aquarius season, the air seasons are always really good to me. But I like Aquarius season because it is the dead of winter, and Aquarius season really helps to kind of invoke a little bit more of this electric, amplified, activated energy. And I've noticed me and some of my fellow air sign Geminis have been on our best behavior, running our mouths and just being on that air sign fuckery, and it's fun because it resonates with us, you know? So I've been enjoying it. Aquarius season is all about, it's fixed air, and so in the Northern Hemisphere, as you know, it's winter time and it's cold as hell. We're in the middle of a polar vortex here in the Midwest. I'm in Chicago. So for those of you who live in Australia and across the other parts of the Southern Hemisphere on the equator, of course, this does not apply to you, but still, fixed air is something that's very solid. And, you know, if you walk outside for more than 30 seconds without adequate skin covering, you will see what fixed air is. But now Aquarius season is really wonderful. It's all about collaboration, friendships, global thinking, collectives coming together. And this is a little bit about what I would like to share in this Cosmic Tea weather report. So it's February 1. I shared with you the song Enter One. So we're all one, and this is what it is. So one of my taglines is decoding the all, because there's so many different ways to decode this life. There's astrology, there's different metaphysical tools, there's different meditation tools, there's so many schools of thought that anybody can subscribe to. And I'm going to combine all of them because I'm a Gemini and I can't talk about just one thing. So first off, let me welcome everybody to the Venus Academy, which is the lifestyle masterclass of love, all about transforming your relationships, because all of life is relationship, and how we relate to ourselves and to our lives in one area of life is how we relate everywhere. And so I've created a couple signature programs and a lot of different offerings. First off, I am opening the 11th House Collective Miracles Mastermind program, and I'm only accepting 11 women maximum for this. And this is mostly about communication, mind training, meditation, learning how to be powerfully present to what is so, learning how to be in the face of what happens and all the shit that comes up in our lives and still be okay and not impeded and not unable to take action. And so, of course, Aquarius season is the right time for me to open this, because It's a collective time of year. And so the 11th house collective is all about sisterhood, coming together, supporting one another, and working with me directly one-on-one and also through the different life work assignments that I've created. Because when you work at your life works. Ching! So Aquarius season also is heralding the opening of a membership program. And so the membership program is almost like Mastermind Light. So the 11th House Collective Mastermind, you receive 3 consulting calls with me every month. And the Mirror of the Venus zine that I drew and illustrated for the Lightning Center out in Portland, which is a really great, simple, quick read, easy resource about relationships and how to keep all relationships holy. It's a print zine, and it also works as like a coloring book in a way. You know, I kind of made it that way. So that's something that also comes with enrollment in the mastermind. And on top of that, I also am offering 1 cosmic weather report and a podcast audio based on A Course in Miracles. And on top of that, then I'm also recording a monthly guided meditation. So you can just sit back, relax, and go within and breathe and just be present with what is. And on top of that, in the mastermind, I also have a special masterclass evening with a guest teacher. So I'll always be bringing in somebody very unique, somebody very interesting, somebody with a lot of expertise in something that is pertinent to that month theme. And the Aquarius month theme of the 11th House Collective Mastermind is rediscovering the truth of who you are. And that's what we're all here to do. And as the months progress, it kind of works the same way that it would look like if you were going around the zodiac wheel. So the second month is going to be about our self-value and our self-worth, just like the second house in astrology. So it's working with the seasons, it's working with the cycles, it's working within and going without, and how we express and show up in relationships and with the people in our world. So the Mastermind is an intensive where you work with me directly. Then I also am offering a sort of Mastermind Light. So you can still receive lots of the content that I create, and then you also have the opportunity to have a permanent discount code on my consulting services. If you subscribe to the membership, then you can work with me at a discounted rate for members only. So there are a lot of different perks, and I want you to go to venusacademy.com and check them out. If you have not already, fill out the application for the 11th House Collective Miracles Mastermind, because that begins very soon. So February 1, it's a new month. Some people were saying that January is pretty long. It was fine for me, but you know, I was a little bit, you know, I like hibernating. And it's funny because I'm doing this video in my kitchen, and I was gonna move 11's little toy kitchen out of the way, but I'm like, you know what? I'm a Venus in Cancer. I'm a little domestic goddess. I live in my kitchen anyway. Let's just keep the little kitchen in the background so that it's just on brand, on point. So it's me. So I'm in my kitchen bringing you this February report. So the thing that I'm most excited about this month is Venus entering Capricorn. Venus, as we know, is the planet of love, beauty, femininity, receptivity, self-value, the ways that we make money and generate ourselves in the world. It's the ways that feminine women wish to be appreciated. It's all about that receptivity, self-value, beauty, connection, relationships, love. Venus is love. Venus is all about love. So Venus moving into Capricorn on February 3rd is really exciting. Oh, this is my plug. Gotta bring in the plug. Venus moving into Capricorn is very exciting. Venus in Capricorn is actually my second favorite Venus placement. My first favorite Venus is Venus in Gemini. I think because people with that placement, their Venus is right on my sun. So the way that they love and, you know, it's right on my solar consciousness, they're on my sun. But I also love Venus in Capricorn. And I really just have recently gotten to discover what the actual real beauty is of it. And I think for me, part of it is that I am a very Capricornian person. So I have Gemini Sun, Capricorn Moon, Leo Rising, and it's a pretty great combination. I got a little bit of the air, I got the earthy, grounded moon, and then I have the Leo Rising sort of glam, fiery persona, which is just, it's just a presentation of self. But Capricorn energy, it's very structured, it's stable, it's about really doing the work, not cutting corners, having integrity, having structures for fulfillment. And with Venus there, it's like if you're going to have Capricorn energy, which is kind of womp womp, do the work, let's get serious. If you're going to have Capricorn energy, it's really beautiful to have Venus, the planet of love and self-value, in Capricorn. So that's why I really like that. And I'll be sharing a little bit more about what that means for us and what our relationships may look like and feel like. So February, as you of course know, also is home to Valentine's Day, which is kind of a strange thing because Valentine's Day is supposed to be this whole, lovey-dovey, mushy, flowers and candy and all of this romantic stuff. But if you follow my work, you know that I'm on this romance to reverence relationships revolution. I love alliteration. It's just brain balm. But yeah, so Valentine's Day is all about the romance and the love and the mush and all of that. And it's totally cool and it's cute. And honestly, I really love the Valentine's Day aesthetic because I love hearts and I love red. And I just, I love the richness and the brightness and the fact that there's just, you can walk down one aisle in the grocery store and everything is just like red hearts. I'm like, yes, let me soak all of this in. But with Valentine's Day being an Aquarius season, it brings a little bit of a interesting dynamic to what we ascribe this holiday to really mean and be for us, because Aquarius is the sign of friendships and keeping things really lighthearted and being the master of detached love. And detached love is love without attachments, being very present in the moment, being very grounded, and not really getting caught up in the emotional aspects of it. So I made a video the other day talking about how our emotions don't need to get in the way of our actions, and mentioned a bit about how Aquarius they kind of get roasted for not having emotions, but I mean, everybody who's human has emotions. We all feel, we just process and express them differently. So it's not that Aquarius season is not the emotional season. It is, we will feel things. As humans, we feel stuff every day. I feel stuff every day. But Aquarius season is not the time for indulging in them. Aquarius season is not the time for coddling precious problems. Aquarius season is all about bigger picture, global relating. Aquarius is more about connecting with the collective rather than one-on-one relationships. That's just not a priority for them. And so with Valentine's Day coming up, it's in this season of very detached love. And on top of that, with Venus entering Capricorn, Venus is this planet, this love goddess, but Capricorn is all about, well, there's a certain way that we're going to do this. This is not just, we're gonna, Venus and Cancer, mush, run off into the sunset and just be caught up in this emotional whirlwind. Venus and Capricorn really requires a lot of patience and discipline and doing things the proper way. It's like the original steward of reverent love rather than romantic love. So I will get into this distinction between romance and reverence in a moment, but I'll share really quickly some of the other transits that are going to be key and integral this month. So Mars is in Aries right now, and it will actually be only in Aries through February 14th. So on Valentine's Day, Mars will leave Aries and move into Taurus. And so Mars rules Aries. Mars is the planet of our power and our aggression and our drive and our anger. sexuality and just, very much that masculine projective energy. And with it being in the sign that it rules, it's just very powerful and able to do what it needs to do. And then with Mars moving into Taurus, which is fixed Earth, that kind of slows things down a little bit because Taurus is just very slow and very deliberate. Fixed signs, they sustain and they maintain. And so Taurus wants to sustain and maintain, whereas Mars, the planet, just wants to kind of go, go, go. So on February 14th, Mars will be making that transition from firecracker starter to, ooh, I got to kind of slow down and kind of take my time a little bit. So there are some kind of conflicting energies, per se, with this and Valentine's Day coming up. So take it easy. Don't put so much pressure on yourself over a holiday, because love is free and love is really to be expressed and extended every single day, no matter what the day is. So, I mean, if you want to force something, you can, but if some shit blows up, in your face, that's just what it is, okay? So Pisces season begins on February 18th, as usual, and so that's kind of when we're all gonna get more into the ocean of emotion time of year. Last year I was doing all of these readings for Pisces women, especially for their solar returns, for their birthdays. And I swear every meeting I was like, oh my God, is my house an aquarium? Because I would just get lost in some etheric land of connection and just flow. And I'm just like, damn, this is a lot of feels. Is this what it's like to really be a Pisces all the time? That's a lot. So yeah, beware, Pisces season is coming up, but that might be a little bit more of a suitable time if you want to get into some more mush mush fifis. But Aquarius season is not necessarily conducive to that. So just take note. So Venus and Capricorn, what is Venus and Capricorn? What does that feel like? Capricorn is cardinal earth. Cardinal signs are initiators. They are occurring at the start of the season. So Capricorn season is the beginning of winter for us. So cardinal earth. Capricorn is an earth sign. Earth signs are all about the material realm, building structures. Again, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is that planet of discipline. And Capricorn really wants to be able to build out in the world and be responsible for society. Capricorn is all about the bigger picture and kind of delayed gratification for long-term gain, laying proper foundations and doing things in a certain way that are actually productive. If you know somebody with Venus and Capricorn, they might be very business-like and methodical in their approach and how they connect with people. And it can be kind of, it can throw you off because it's like, oh, I think this person actually really likes me and I think they love me, but, I feel like I'm also kind of, it might feel a little bit of a businessy energy to the way that these natives operate. But it's really nice when you really think about what it is that you would want in partnership or even with connecting with anybody. When somebody has Venus in Capricorn, my daughter 11 has Venus in Capricorn, and I love it. I see it in her. But there's just a very methodical approach to love. So Capricorn is in it for the long haul. Capricorn is very loyal. They don't really play around. They don't really have time for that. They really want to create something of substance, and this definitely goes for partnership. Now, Venus, since it also rules the ways that we value ourselves and the ways that we create income for ourselves, it also represents the ways we make money. And so somebody with Venus and Capricorn may be very career driven, probably sees work and building as more of a priority than romance and relationships. And just has a very, as I said, a very reverent approach to how they show up in the world. And it's actually really sexy. It's really nice. And I think this is what I really like about them, because I have Venus in Cancer. So I have the opposite sign, Venus. And so I'm the one who's all sentimental and, oh, this is so sweet. And, oh, remember this. And Venus in Capricorn's like, I'm working. I got shit to do. There's business, there's monuments to build, and really big things happening, and I really can't be distracted by all of these things. So that's really beautiful and lovely, but I got stuff to do, and I will connect with you when, things are done in a very proper way. And it's very, just very deliberate. There's no throwing caution to the wind. And whenever you want to connect with somebody, that is a really valuable thing to have, because really when you're dealing with another person, especially on an intimate level, you don't want to take things lightly. It is really people's lives. When we're relating with people, it's people's lives. You don't just jump into things. You don't just do things willy-nilly anyhow. There should be, a strategy or a plan or a structure. The word of my year this year is structures. Structures for fulfillment everywhere, and really just kind of keeping your life done in a certain way so that you can have freedom. I lived a life in the past where I would kind of run away from structure because I felt like, damn, I've been responsible my whole life. I'm so tired of this. And I would avoid it. And what I really came to find was that it's the structure which creates freedom. Live to a calendar, structure your days, order your steps, train your mind, have a discipline, use discernment, do things, with the spirit of excellence. And so this is what Venus and Capricorn represents, and this is the energy that will be flowing through our cosmos beginning February 3rd. So with the combination of airy, detached, and very present to the moment, Aquarius, plus very businesslike, very deliberate, very reverent, and serious Venus and Capricorn, Valentine's Day is not necessarily looking like this year. It's necessarily this thing that I think a lot of people feel like it should be. And with that said, I would like to share a little bit about the difference between romance and reverence. And I'm going to share from A Course in Miracles, which is my chosen disciple, discipline, discernment structure. So, A Course in Miracles is basically a self-study, spiritual psychotherapy, mind training. And it really is a system where you dismantle the ego and dismantle a thought system based on fear, and you build up and cultivate your thought system to think with love. Because if we're not thinking with love, we're hallucinating, because love is all there is. So, Course in Miracles, as it says in the front, is a required course. And the only thing that matters is how long you take to do it and the time you take to do it. And what I really like about that, because it's kind of a bold thing to say, but the truth is there's one truth spoken many ways. There's many different paths. But the thing that matters is that you really understand that it is required in this lifetime to do some kind of work and have some kind of discipline structure to dismantle the ego-based thinking and invoke the light. And you can do whatever you really want to do. Like you can, take whatever path you want to take, but when you have something like this that is just structured for you and it's just easy to follow along, it absolutely transforms the way that you see people and the way that you relate with people. So A Course in Miracles has 3 parts. In the beginning, it is the text, which is a lot of pages, and you can kind of just read that as you go. And then the second part is a workbook. There's 365 lessons, so there's one for each day of the year. So you wake up in the morning, read your lesson, meditate on that, and you have different intervals throughout the day where you want to keep this meditation, this phrase in mind. And you do this every single day of the year. And then the third part of the book is the manual for teachers, and helps to clarify some terms and really get us really clear on what it is that we are doing when we are teaching and sharing these principles. So again, one truth, many ways. It uses the word God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. and it's not religious, it's not dogmatic, and it's just about truly freeing your mind so that you can have a higher, clearer understanding of what the purpose is of relationships and what it is to actually think with love and be the love and not be so neurotic all the time. And this is something that needs discipline. This is not something you can just do willy-nilly. It's not something you can just do and pick up and put down, but it actually, like, it's building the spiritual musculature. So as I mentioned with my life work assignments, it's like when you work at your life works. And so this is just another tool that I use that really just makes all the sense in the world. And so the Course in Miracles talks about the difference between special relationships and holy relationships. Now, special relationships are exactly what they sound like. It's romantic relationships. It's this whole world of dating. It's this whole world of, I feel incomplete. I don't have a man. I am missing this person. Oh, this person is not acting the way that I want them to act. Special relationships also pertain to anybody that we distinguish as being different or separate from us, and people that, we want to act a certain way. Basically, the special relationship is romantic relationships, but any kind of relationship where your ego is thinking first and making the other person the enemy. Okay? So anytime you're dealing with somebody and you're not operating in the place of love, you've basically ascribed a bit of specialness to this relationship, and as such, it is going to be very destructive and very painful and challenging to deal with. So let's get into this here about special relationships. I'm sharing from page 312 of the text here. Okay. To believe that special relationships with special love can offer you salvation is the belief that separation is salvation. For it is the complete equality of the atonement in which salvation lies. How can you decide that special aspects of the sonship can give you more than others? Because of guilt, all special relationships have elements of fear in them, and this is why they shift and change so frequently. They're not based on changeless love alone, and love, where fear has entered, cannot be depended on because it's not perfect. Now, in his function as interpreter of what you made, the Holy Spirit uses special relationships which you have chosen to support the ego as learning experiences that point to truth. Under his teaching, every relationship becomes a lesson in love. The Holy Spirit knows no one is special. Yet he also perceives that you have made special relationships which he would purify and not let you destroy. However unholy the reason you made them may be, he can translate them into holiness by removing as much fear as you will let him. You can place any relationship under his care and be sure that it will not result in pain if you offer him your willingness to have it serve no need but his. All the guilt in it arises from your use of it, all the love from his. Do not then be afraid to let go your imagined needs, which would destroy the relationship. Your only need is his. Any relationship you would substitute for another has not been offered to the Holy Spirit for his use. There is no substitute for love. If you would attempt to substitute one aspect of love for another, you have placed less value on one and more on the other. You've not only separated them, but you've also judged against both. Yet, you had judged against yourself first, or you would have never imagined that you needed your brothers as they were not. ooh, I can go on forever with this. Let me break this down into layman's terms, all right? The ego speaks first and speaks loudest, and it's out to seek but never find, okay? And so this is why when we meet somebody, we get really excited about them, and we're so caught up in these romantic ideations and these fantastical illusions, and start creating these fictional masterpieces in our mind about what is this? Where is this going? What are we doing? What does this mean? And it's so funny. I was actually sharing with my other Course in Miracles partner, Colin, about just some synchronicities I was noticing in a relationship in my life. And I was like, that's really fascinating. And I was like, yeah, it is. And it doesn't mean anything. I don't know what it means. I don't know what anything is for. And that's kind of the place where you want to get to in life, is to let go of what you think the relationships in your life are for. The pain that we experience in relationships, whether this is with somebody that we have met, are dating, in a relationship with, married to, a parent, a friend, a colleague, a coworker, there's no order in relationships, okay? They either are or they are not. And all relationships, when we are considering them holy relationships, should be seen as equal. Everything is the same. There's only one Son of God here, and it's all of us. And so everybody really should be taken as yourself. That's what it means to have a holy relationship, is to take another as yourself and to not judge them, and to basically be radically accepting of them as they are and as they are not. That's really the only way that you can create intimacy and connection with a person, is to accept them exactly as they are and as they are not. Because the moment we start to approach somebody with this need for them to be any different from what they are, there is going to be a defense brought up there. How can you not get defensive if you're feeling like somebody is wanting you to be other than what you are? All we want is, everybody wants us to be accepted, right? And so when somebody is showing up in your world in a less than stellar way, and maybe is neurotic or is acting in a way that is not good for you, the best thing that you can do is really just accept them as they are. Get really curious, learn how to listen, learn how to ask questions, be very present. We don't know what relationships are really for. I've even found this happen with some friendships or some, new people that I meet. Make a connection and I'm really excited about it. And they're like, ooh, let's collaborate. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do all these things. And then, some time passes and I'm like, you know what? Actually, I don't want to do that. I changed my mind. And I'm a Gemini. I change my mind all the fucking time. So it's a lot more powerful to let the process unfold. But what this passage that I shared was saying is that relationships can all be transformed. And this is what my work is in the Venus Academy. It's all about transforming all of your relationships, not just about getting a dinky boyfriend. That's not what any of this is about. It's really about finding whatever within you feels like it has a void that needs to be filled by a partner, because it is that very longing for a partner which is sending a frequency of you being unfulfilled as you are. And so when you do actually find this person or this partner, then you will sabotage it because you're expecting them to fill your hole. And it ends up being a sort of magnetic, polarized dance of two emotional invalids joined at the hip, where you're just triggering each other and activating each other's wounds and just like playing this whole thing. And the only way that dysfunctional dynamic will ever change is if one person shifts and refuses to dance the dance in that way. And so this is why I say you can actually transform all of your relationships, because I really have. I've really learned new ways of showing up, and the other people, it has nothing to do with the other people. I take responsibility for myself and for how I show up and how I express myself and how I connect. And as such, that transforms the whole dynamic, because I'm not dancing the neurotic dance with them anymore. So if I don't even meet them there, all of that crazy stuff can't even happen because I'm not playing that game. I'm not there with them. And any relationship can experience this holyization process, even if it's a friend. Okay, well, yeah, you know what? I really thought I wanted to do this event with you, but I don't like planning shit, so I changed my mind, but maybe we can do something else. Anything can be transformed. It's really just about communicating authentically and just being the truth of who you are and expressing yourself very clearly so that you can actually do what you're supposed to do and really see what, this friendship, partnership, relationship is all about. It's especially important in these situations where we feel what we would call romantic connection to others. And that's really the best place for all of our neuroses to show up. But as I said, when we are able to put our relationships on the altar and give it up and hold the space for that connection to be used for a purpose bigger than yourselves and bigger than some egoic need to grasp or hold on to something or change somebody, then you can really expand and everything is really possible because both parties actually feel free to be exactly who they are. And since structure creates freedom, then both parties can create a structure that works for both of them. Relationships don't have to be this zero-sum game. It's not about I win and you lose, or it's not about, well, this is what I really want to get my needs met, and so you have to change the fundamental nature of who you are so that I can feel better. That's not hot at all. But every relationship actually can be transformed. It just takes a little while sometimes to cool out, to kind of get over the initial emotional hijacking that might take place. I borrowed that move from college. But any relationship can actually really be transformed. You really know the purposes of relationships. You're able to take another person as yourself. You're able to accept them as they are. And you're able to know that this is not just about me and this is not about an emotional deficiency, but more, nothing outside of me is ever going to satisfy. All of these things, everything is nothing but sheer idols that never satisfy. I've done all of the things in my life that I could possibly think to do. Building houses in Trinidad, living in the Caribbean, and traveling the world, and going, across Europe, and living and studying abroad, and going home to Zambia, and marriage, and all of that, and I'm just like, fuck, it's boring. And it doesn't have to be, but it was just that I was not in a place where I was fully grounded in my own discipline and self-knowledge and self-understanding and my own connection to spirit, to be in the place where I can really see, who I am and the truth of what it is that I would like to actually create in a way that is structured and responsible for myself. It was just part of growing up, part of the holyization process, part of having all of these different relationships and partnerships to activate me to see things differently. And as such, I have transformed all of the connections with the people that I've been connected to through communication. So it's a lot to think about, right? I think I just dropped so much on you. And but ultimately, this is what my work is in the Venus Academy, and I love working with people to help us to see that the ways that we act and the recurring upsets that continue to show up in our world are not by accident. We're all programmed and ingrained to act a certain way. All of these troubles and dramas and issues that we feel like we have in the world are just part of being human. It's just part of this experience of having a human flesh suit while on this earth. We're just like born into this sea of neurosis. And so it's up to us to really, this is why they say it's a required course, because we're all fucking neurotic and the ego is out to destroy us in whatever way possible. It is through addictions to relationships, to people, to sex, to drinking, to whatever, and I've lived all of that also. I've had all of my my vices and throwing caution to the wind and you know, just Gemini behavior, air sign fuckery, whatever it is. But I see really the value of just taking a step back from all of it, going within, truly, truly depending on God, and really seeing what that looks like. And also just seeing how beautiful and expansive relationships are when you're not exclusionary in them. So when I say not being exclusionary, it doesn't mean that you have sex with everybody. I mean, you could. I don't know why you would want to, because it's a divine, reverent union and merging. At least that's how I see it, because I'm a receptive, and so I would be taking in and receiving energy. But when dealing with people, the people in your world, you want to truly just take everybody as yourself. And I remember when I was married, I would say all the time, I was like, well, I'm married to him, but I love my sister friends and my girlfriends, and I love all these people just the same. I love him, but I love my mom, and I love this person, and I love my best friend, and I love Monique, and I love 11, just the same. I don't love him necessarily more than everybody else. So it's not even really about ranking the kinds of roles that people play in your life, but just about using discernment about who you choose to share certain parts of your life with. So you can have your husbands and have a beautiful, wonderful connection with them, but I also have so many other loves of my life. I consider my friends the great loves of my life, truly. I don't have sex with them, but they are the great loves of my life. And from that, it takes off the pressure from one person to be your one and only everything and all of this, and like responsible for all of your emotional dramas. And especially for women, you really need to understand that men are not hairy women. So you need to save a lot of the girl talk and that neurosis for your girlfriends or your gay husbands or something like that. But we serve very different roles, and we function very differently, and we focus very differently, and the way that we are able to be and move around and communicate in the world is very different. And so I appreciate those differences, because I don't want to be a man. I don't want to compete with a man, and I don't want to, I just, let me save my masculine energy for my work in these structures. But when connecting with a man, I truly appreciate that strong polarity that comes along with a masculine man who's grounded in infinity and just very solid in their being. So that I can lean back and just be in my feminine and just really be a receiver and be taken care of in the ways that women naturally are to be taken care of. And so it's really beautiful when you're able to just be. So, yeah, that's a lot. But February is going to be a really beautiful month. Also, I will be in New York. I forgot to mention this, but I'll be in New York at the New York City Theosophical Society giving a talk called Venus and the Ways We Love on Tuesday, February 12th at 7 p.m. So the meetup RSVP link is already full, but they accept wait lists. So just say that you want to come, so we know, who to expect, and what kind of accommodations we'll have to work out, and just come and let's hang out and connect and look at the ways we love and examine all of these topics a little deeper. And check out venusacademy.com to see what I'm offering. I love working one-on-one with the Venus Talks consultations. I listen to your life. I give you structures for communication. I tell you exactly how you can express yourself. We kind of get to unearth the root cause of why these relationship stories and these different upsets keep happening in your world. And they're just fun. And I promise you, even after one session, you will cause a breakthrough in your perception of that relationship and be able to actually take action to transform that connection with that person through powerful and very clear communication. So that's what I'm up to. Thank you so much for tuning in to this, and I'll see y'all very soon. Peace.